She strangled her own infant daughter to frame a rival. She tortured her enemies until they begged for death at his mercy. She erased them from history itself, their names, their faces, their very existence. And when the all-male court of Tang Dynasty China tried to stop her, she did something no woman had done in 3,000 years of Chinese civilization. She took the dragon throne for herself. Tonight we descend into the blood-soaked rise of Wu Zetian, the concubine who became China's only female emperor. A woman so ruthless that even centuries after her death, historians cannot agree whether she was a visionary leader or a monster in silk robes. But here's what they do agree on. She was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone for power. 624 AD Tang Dynasty China. A girl is born into a family of minor nobles. Her name is Wu Zhao. In a society where women are property, where foot binding cripples girls to make them marriageable, where a daughter's only value is the alliance she brings through marriage, this girl should have lived and died in obscurity. But something is different about Wu Zhao from the beginning. Her father, a timber merchant who bought his way into nobility, does something unusual. He educates his daughter, teaches her to read and write, exposes her to literature, philosophy, politics. In a world where educated women are considered dangerous, Wu Zhao becomes dangerous. At 13, her beauty catches the attention of Emperor Tizong. She enters the Forbidden City as a low-ranking concubine, essentially a servant with the theoretical possibility of imperial favor. For most women, this would be the peak, a gilded cage for life. For Wu Zhao, it's just the beginning. She watches, she learns. She understands that in the imperial court, power flows not from a beauty or birth, but from information and manipulation. The young concubine becomes a student of power itself. When Emperor Taizong dies in 649, Wu faces a terrible fate. By law and custom, all childless concubines of a dead emperor must spend the rest of their lives in a Buddhist convent. Wu Zhao is 25 years old. She is being sentenced to living death, decades of prayers and silence in a monastery, her beauty and intelligence wasted, her name forgotten. Most women accept this fate. Wu Zhao refuses to disappear. During the emperor's final illness, she had caught the eye of his son, the crown prince who would become Emperor Gaozong. It's forbidden, scandalous, potentially treasonous. But Wu Zhao understands something crucial. Rules only matter if someone enforces them. After the required mourning period, Gaozong, now emperor, does the unthinkable. He brings Wu Zhao back from the convent, makes her his concubine. The court is shocked. Buddhist monks denounce the relationship as incestuous. She had been his father's woman. Confucian scholars call it an abomination against filial piety. Wu Zhao doesn't care what they call it. She's back in the palace, back in the game. And this time she's playing to win everything. The imperial harem is a battlefield more dangerous than any war. Dozens of concubines compete for the emperor's favor, his time, his seed. The woman who bears him a son becomes untouchable, the mother of a potential heir. But there's an obstacle. Empress Wang, the emperor's official wife, childless but protected by her status and her family's power. Wu Zhao begins a campaign of psychological warfare so subtle that no one sees it coming. She befriends the empress, becomes her confidant, plays the role of loyal subject, all while slowly, methodically turning the emperor against his wife. Then Wu Zhao gives birth to a daughter, a princess. The baby is healthy, beautiful, the emperor's first child with the Wu, and one day the infant is found dead in her crib. Wu Zhao screams, collapses in grief, points a trembling finger at Empress Wang, who had visited the baby's chambers that morning. There's no evidence, no witnesses, just a dead infant and a grieving mother's accusation. But it's enough. The emperor believes Wu Zhao. The empress is stripped of her title, imprisoned. Her alleged co-conspirator, consort Xiao, another rival, is arrested as well. Historians have debated for 1,400 years. Did Empress Wang really kill the baby? Or did Wu Zhao strangle her own daughter to eliminate two rivals in one calculated act? We may never know, but we do know what happened next. 655 AD, Wu Zhao becomes Empress Wu. At 31 years old, she has achieved what seemed impossible. Risen from concubine to empress, the second most powerful position in the empire. For most women, this would be the ultimate victory. Wu Zhao is just getting started. The former Empress Wang and consort Xiao, imprisoned and forgotten, believe their suffering is over. They're wrong. Empress Wu orders them brought before her. She has their hands and feet cut off. Then she has them thrown into vats of wine, still alive, still conscious. Let these two witches drink themselves to death, she says. It takes days for them to die. Days of agony, drowning slowly in wine and their own blood. Before her death, Consort Xiao curses Wu. May you be reborn as a rat and I as a cat, so I may tear out your throat in every life. The curse haunts Wu for the rest of her life. She becomes obsessed with cats, eventually banning them from all imperial residences. Some say she saw Xiao's ghost in every shadow. But the purge doesn't end with Wang and Xiao. Anyone who supported them, anyone who questioned Wu's rise, anyone who might threaten her position, all are systematically eliminated. The bodies pile up. The imperial court learns a new rule. Cross Wu Zetian, and death is the kindest fate you can hope for. Emperor Gaozong suffers from debilitating headaches and dizziness. Modern historians suspect it's a stroke. At the time, it leaves him weak, unable to govern effectively. Wu Zhao steps into the void. At first, she simply advises him behind a silk screen during audiences. Then she starts issuing orders in his name. Then she stops bothering with the pretense. By the 660s, Wu is effectively ruling China while her husband lives. The court is divided. Traditional Confucian officials are horrified. A woman wielding imperial power violates the fundamental order of the universe itself. But Wu has supporters too. Officials who see her competence, her intelligence, her ability to make decisions that strengthen the empire. Wu plays them against each other brilliantly. She promotes based on merit rather than birth, revolutionary in a society built on aristocratic privilege. She opens civil service examinations to lower classes, creating a new generation of officials who owe their positions to her alone. She's building a power base that doesn't depend on her husband, her gender, or traditional authority structures. She's building something that belongs to her. When Emperor Gaozong finally dies in 683, their son becomes emperor. Wu Zhao is now Empress Dowager, retired to ceremonial duties. Except Wu Zhao doesn't retire. She deposes her own son within weeks, names her second son emperor instead. He's weak, controllable, essentially a puppet. The real ruler is still Wu, but even this isn't enough. 690 AD, Wu Zhao does something that has never happened in Chinese history, something many believe was cosmically impossible. She declares herself emperor, not empress regnant, not queen. Emperor, a title reserved exclusively for men since the beginning of Chinese civilization. She takes the name Wu Zetian, ruler of heaven. She establishes a new dynasty, the Zhou dynasty, replacing the Tang. She creates new characters in the Chinese language to represent her unique position. The message is clear. I am not breaking the rules. I am rewriting them. The Confucian establishment explodes in outrage. Scholars write treatises proving that female rule violates the natural order. Rebellions break out in provinces. Her own relatives plot against her. Wu Zetian crushes them all. She establishes a secret police network that makes Stalin's look amateur. Anonymous boxes are placed throughout the capital where anyone can report suspected disloyalty. Accusations need no evidence. Torture is routine. Officials arrive at court each morning uncertain if they'll return home. Families are destroyed on whispers and rumors. An estimated tens of thousands die in Wu's purges. But here's the terrifying paradox. While the bodies pile up in prison cells, the empire thrives. Wu Zetian is actually an effective ruler. She reduces taxes on peasants, promotes agricultural development, expands education, strengthens the civil service. Under her reign, China prospers. She's simultaneously the most brutal and most competent ruler the Tang dynasty has ever seen. As Wu ages, paranoia consumes her. She sees conspiracies everywhere. Rival factions plot constantly. Legitimists who want the Tang dynasty restored. Confucians who believe female rule is an abomination. Her own children who want the power she's hoarding. She relies increasingly on a group of favorites, corrupt officials and alleged lovers who exploit her trust for personal gain. The court becomes decadent, disconnected from reality. In 705, at 80 years old, Wu Zetian is seriously ill. A group of officials stages a coup, forcing her to abdicate in favor of her son. She dies months later, stripped of her imperial title, her Zhou dynasty dissolved, the Tang dynasty officially restored. Her enemies try to erase her from history. They destroy records, rewrite chronicles, deny her existence as emperor. But you cannot erase someone who changed everything. So who was Wu Zetian really? Monster or visionary? Murderer or reformer? The answer is both. Simultaneously, unavoidably. She killed her own daughter, possibly. She tortured and murdered thousands, definitely. She ruled through fear, paranoia, and violence. But she also expanded civil rights for women, promoted based on merit rather than birth, strengthened the empire, proved that a woman could hold the dragon throne and the heavens wouldn't fall. Wu Zetian understood something that makes her eternally relevant. That power doesn't care about gender, morality, or tradition. Power belongs to whoever is ruthless enough to take it and clever enough to keep it. She looked at a society that said women were property and decided that rule didn't apply to her. She looked at 3,000 years of precedent and rewrote it in a single lifetime. The price was thousands of lives, including possibly her own child's. The gain was absolute power and a permanent place in history. 14 centuries have passed since Wu Zetian died, yet her shadow still falls across debates about power, gender, and the price of ambition. In modern China, she's been rehabilitated, celebrated as a feminist icon, a brilliant administrator, proof that women can lead as effectively as men. But this rehabilitation requires a selective memory. It requires forgetting the torture chambers, the purges, the mountain of corpses she built to reach the throne. Perhaps that's the most disturbing lesson of Wu Zetian's life, that we're willing to forgive almost any atrocity if the perpetrator achieves something we admire. She proved women could rule, but she also proved that women, given absolute power, are just as capable of absolute corruption as any man. Is that equality, or is that simply a more honest acknowledgement of what power does to human beings, regardless of gender? So I leave you with this question. Was Wu Zetian's rise worth the cost? Did proving that a woman could rule China justify the thousands who died to make it happen? Or was she simply another tyrant, remarkable only because her gender made her tyranny more difficult to achieve? What do you think, feminist icon or ruthless dictator? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to explore more stories of power, manipulation, and the darkest corners of history, subscribe and join us on this journey.